So, you know that Vinaya we say that the monk accept money. So, but in Malaysia, we used to give Nawakana in terms of ang-pao. So, when we just speak like that, is it acceptable or how do we handle it properly?
Whether giving money, what you call Navakama, is allowable. Firstly, in the Vinaya, there is no such thing as Navakama. It's created later. And the understanding of this word Navakama is that Nava is new. New works. In other words, if a monastery is building something, a new project, then you give money. But then what is allowed in the Vinaya is that there is such a thing called Mandaka allowance. I tell you the background first. At one time, the Buddha was walking with 1,250 Arahant disciples. And because the Buddha and his disciples, their reputation was good, so a lot of people were rushing to offer food dana to the monks. So that the Buddha and his 1,250 Arahants, they were booked for many days. So there was this rich man called Mandaka. He wanted to make an offering, but he found that all the days were booked and he could not make an offering. So he asked the Buddha for permission to give money for the use of the monk. And the Buddha allowed. So it's called a Mandaka allowance. But the money should not go to the monk. The money should go to what is called a Kapya Karaka. Kapya is allowable. Karaka is one who makes. So Kapya Karaka is one who makes allowable. So this, for short now, we call Kapya. This Kapya can accept the money on behalf of the monk. But the money does not belong to the monk. The money still belongs to the person who donated the money, only to be used when the monk needs. So the Buddha says, if the monk needs something, for example medicine or robe or something, he can inform the Kapya, and the Kapya will use the money to buy for him. So it's best that the monk should not hold the money, should not have his own bank account. That is not allowed. So it's also better that a monk should have a registered organization, like we have a Sangha foundation. So when there's a bank account, it is under the name of the foundation. So lay people, we choose a few reliable lay persons to look after the fund. It depends on the monk. If the monk is strict with the Vinaya, if you offer the requisite, he will tell you not to offer the ang-pao. The ang-pao should go to the person looking after the funds. In our monastery, we have a set of regulations. And one of the regulations is that the lay people should not give money to a monk or to the novice monk. It's not allowed. The lay people should only give money to the foundation. The thing is, this kind of practice where you are not supposed to touch the food after offering, different Buddhist countries have different practice. So it is with the Thai tradition. In the Thailand, once you offer a food, you are not allowed to touch it. If you touch it, it's like you have taken it back. You have to re-offer again. So you have to be careful what tradition you are dealing with. The Sri Lankans, they like the lay people to offer, but not the Thai tradition. So each monastery is different. So when you go to a monastery, it's good to ask. Like those who follow strictly the Thai tradition one, women also cannot offer into the hands of the monk. The monk will put a cloth, the monk will hold the cloth, and then the women offer the food onto the cloth. When you offer food also, if it's a monk of the Thai tradition, who are very strict on this practice, then he will put a cloth and you offer on the cloth. So sometimes you're not sure, you ask the monk. Okay, just now I mentioned that you should not give money to a monk. So it doesn't matter whether he's a bogus monk or a real monk, don't give money. Just give food. So you just give food, after a while if he's a bogus monk, nobody offer him money, he won't do his act anymore. Actually, since you all have a library here, I told Brother Albert that I will give you, when you come tomorrow, 3 copies of my book, the Buddhist monks' precepts, which was written for monks. So it's quite detailed. So there you will see that Mahayana and Theravada monks have the same monk precepts, basically the same. Theravada has 227 precepts. Mahayana has 250, even more. Only problem is some of them, they choose not to follow the precept. They say Hong Pian. Actually it's Hui Pian. This question about a monk who smokes. Actually in the Vinaya, there is no precept against smoking. But there is a precept against using money. So if a monk uses money to buy a cigarette, that is breaking the precept. But if a monk smokes, because some lay person offered him a cigarette, it's not broken a precept. Actually, in Thailand, it is a custom because many years ago, you have great meditators like Ajahn Man. They also smoke. But the cigarette they smoke is the cheapest, the bidi. They use that thing. They roll it, smoke. The only thing is nowadays cigarettes become very expensive, so people are offended seeing. But then strict monasteries, like our monastery, we don't allow a monk to smoke. We don't even allow a 8th preceptor to smoke. Different culture, different view. Just like we Chinese are so used to monks taking vegetarian food. Some Chinese think all monks must be vegetarians, otherwise they are not pure, otherwise they are not compassionate. It's a wrong thinking. Right? Buddha himself was not a vegetarian. So it is, you have to be very careful about mixing our own personal views. For example, in Thailand and in Sri Lanka, monks drink tea and drink coffee, but in Burma it's not allowed. But then I think the Burmese monks, they eat something in the evening. I don't know what it is they eat, something like, not betel nuts, something else. I don't know, like seafood like that. That probably is not allowed in Thailand. So you have to find out what is allowable in a particular tradition, what is not allowable. Even before they got slaughtered, I was asked a question, and I said that in the monks' Vinaya, it is not proper for a monk to engage in worldly affairs. So because if a monk engages in worldly affairs, then especially in politics, then it puts the whole Sangha in danger. Many years ago in Bangkok, there was curfew. Because of some political problem, there was curfew, and lay persons were not allowed to come out on the streets on certain hours. But in the morning, the soldiers standing, holding guns at the roadside, the monks were walking on Pindabat, nobody stopped them. Because island, they know that the monks generally don't champo politics, don't get mixed up with politics, so they are not a threat. So the monks could go on arms crossed, walk safely without being stopped. On the other hand, you see what happened in Burma? Just killed for nothing. But if a monk actually practices the holy life and he meditates, he has no time to be involved in politics. His mind, if he gets thinking of politics, his mind is not in the here and now. In the suttas, you find that actually it's very good to study the suttas, because there are a lot of practical things in the sutta. And unless you study the suttas again and again, some of these important things you miss. For example, there's one sutta that the Buddha said that it is silly for a monk to sing or to chant in a singing high and low tone. And the Buddha said one of the reasons he discourages that is because it can break a monk's concentration. Because sati people translate as mindfulness. It is not actually mindfulness, it is recollection. Why? Because we are mindful all the time. 24 hours a day we are mindful. Even when we are dreaming, we are also mindful. Why? When you are dreaming, you are mindful of your dream. Right? If you are having stray thoughts, you are mindful of your stray thoughts. Right? But that is not sati. Sati has to do with remembering. Because sati comes from the word S-M-R-T-I, which means to remember. And why to remember? It means to remember your object of meditation. For example, if you are doing the breath meditation, you're supposed to be mindful of your breath all the time. So if your mind runs away, you bring it back to your breath. Or if you are doing the meditation on the 32 parts of the body, and then you chant head, hair, body, hair, nails, teeth, skin, flesh, sinew, bone, marrow, kidney, heart. So you are supposed to meditate on that and put your mind there, contemplate that. If your mind goes to some other thing, you bring it back to that particular thing. So sati has to do with remembering your object of meditation, right? So if a monk starts to sing, he forgot his object of concentration already. So he loses his concentration. So similarly, if a monk starts to be concerned about political affairs, then his mind goes to political things. It's not in the right place. Forgot his object of meditation. The Buddha's disciples, they put their mind on their object of meditation all the time. And only one object of meditation all the time. A lot of people, they don't know how to practice Satipatthana is given in the Samyutta Nikaya. The Buddha gave a simile about the most beautiful girl of the country came out. And then the men saw the most beautiful country of the girl come out, and they clapped their hands and shouted, "And the most beautiful girl in the country." And then more men came out and clapped their hands, and then they shouted for her to sing and dance. So she started to sing and dance, and a lot of people came out and shouted and clapped, seeing this beautiful girl singing and dancing. Then the Buddha said an ordinary man came along. He was caught by the soldiers. He was forced to carry a bowl of oil filled to the top, filled to the brim. And he was asked to walk with the bowl of oil, holding the bowl of oil. And the soldier was walking behind him and told him, "If you spill this oil, even one drop you spill, I will chop off your head." So he has to walk among the crowd of people watching this girl singing and dancing, he has to look at the bowl of oil all the time. And his attention is so fixed. The Buddha asked, can he look right? Can he look left? Cannot. Can he look at the beautiful girl? Dare not. Right? So he has to walk only looking at the bowl of oil without being distracted at all. So actually, this simile is telling us how to practice Satipatthana. That is why all arahants are mindful. You can say mindful or recollected 24 hours a day. In the Vinaya books, if you accuse an arahant of any offense, it's not possible. Because his mind is 24 hours collected or mindful. So, even when arahant sleeps, if he happens to dream also, he knows he's dreaming. Not that he doesn't know. He is master of his mind, absolute master of his mind. Cannot fall asleep without knowing. So for a person to attain arahanthood, to come to that state where he is collected 24 hours a day, he has to train himself to that state where he doesn't sleep. That's why in the Vinaya books there were some new monks. They were in the Dhamma hall listening to some Dhamma talk of some senior monk. Then after that, the talk finished. Then the senior monk went back to the kuti. And these young monks were sitting there. And then they were tired, they fell asleep. In the middle of the night, Buddha came and called them to wake up. The Buddha said, you all should not be sleeping unmindfully. So you have a teacher like that, he cannot sleep peacefully. You fall asleep only, the Buddha knows from his psychic power. That's why when our Mahamoggallana was practicing so hard, within 7 days he attained arahanthood. Like the Buddha said in the Satipatthana Sutta, if you practice Satipatthana within 7 days, you can attain arahanthood liberation, provided you don't sleep. So our Mahamoggallana was so tired from practicing that he was nodding his head in the middle of the night, falling asleep and nodding his head. Then the Buddha used his psychic power from the top of his head, one golden likeness of the Buddha came out and went to Mahamoggallana and talked to him. Said, sit up, Moggallana, don't be full of sloth and torpor. Then he got a shock from Buddha. So he continued to practice without sleeping 7 days in arahanthood. So actually, meditation is a fight against sleep. Because every time we sleep, we allow the mind to run. And this is the asavas. The flow of the mind is called the asavas. That's why a lot of people don't know. Enlightenment, the definition of enlightenment is destruction of the asavas. It's break this tendency of the mind to flow. So the mind only flows when we allow it to flow. And it's worse when you fall asleep. When you fall asleep, it flows. My parents used to say, Pang Tua Chia. The big vehicle, traveling here, traveling there. So, if we don't sleep, we don't allow the mind to run. Or even if you sleep less, instead of sleeping 8 hours a day, you are able to sleep 4 hours a day, and then you meditate the next day, you find different. You can meditate much better. The Buddha said, if you offer to the Sangha, then merit is the highest. But if you have greed, it lessens the blessings, the merit. Okay? But still it is very great. But if you offer to a beggar, if it happens to be a rascal, a rogue, then your merit is not very great. Just like if you offer to a dog. A dog is also got life. So the merit, even out of compassion, you offer to a hungry stray dog, blessings, the merit is not very great.